Don't just stand there teasing me.
Another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin. Welcome. My name is Ibuka Obiuchende. Thanks a lot for joining us. We ended the show last Sunday wishing the Super Eagles victory at the African Cup of Nations. It was the one thing that we were trying to hold on to as some sort of good news for the nation that's going through so much. Unfortunately, they didn't make it, but we're still very proud of the Super Eagles and know that that's the beginning of many great things for them. Now third in Africa in the rankings, 28th, I believe, in the world, which is the highest in about 15 years or thereabouts. So that's a good way to kick off the year for sports, and it's an Olympic year as well, so hopefully that spills over into many other things. But unfortunately, the distraction is over. A lot of Nigerians were distracted by the Africa Cup of Nations and trolling on social media and enjoying the banter away from what the country was going through, but it's back to reality now, and the last week has definitely reminded a lot of us of what's going on in the nation. The Naira is in a free fall. The inflation figures are beyond mind-boggling. Food inflation is even worse. And every single Nigerian is feeling the pinch, and we don't seem to know what the way forward is. There's no clarity on a lot of things or what the future looks like. But I'm joined here now by two people who will probably help us understand where we are and what 2024 looks like. Priscilla Amadi and Wale Oshunde, thanks a lot for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're looking at the value of the Naira.
Good to see you.
I think it ended the week at 1,644 thereabout to the dollar. And something that I think made it hit home for a lot of us. I saw a tweet that said, if you had a million Naira in 1999, it's now worth 100K.
Oh my goodness.
Pretty much, because it was 160 Naira to the dollar at the time. So you've lost 10 times the value of your money since democracy came back. Let me start with you, Priscilla. I don't even know what to ask. What's going on?
I know, right? You and me both. What's going on? That's the question we all Nigerians are asking. Like, we keep asking these things. You see, we've had different kinds of policies pushed in the last few months, and for some reason, it's not affecting the real thing that affects Nigerians. It's still... Naira is still going on a free fall. The prices of everything is going off the roof. In fact, now you don't go to the market trying to bargain or even try to negotiate, because when you're trying to negotiate, they look at you like, come, are you even aware of what's going on in the country? So we're really asking, what is going on? There are people in charge of these things. What is really, really going on?
Well, it's very scary because, I mean, the inflation figures were released during the week, I think 29.9 by the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, record numbers. Food inflation is even worse at 35.41, and I don't think you need figures to know that that's a fact if you've tried to buy anything in Nigeria recently. You know, we saw images, I think 2 days ago, of Sahad stores, a very popular store in Abuja, being closed down for price gouging or whatever And you wonder, but everybody's doing this. You go to the markets at 8 a.m., you go back at 2 p.m., the prices have changed because it's just the reality of things. Is this a fix for what's happening as supermarkets, restaurants, commodities, people who sell? Are they the reason for this? Because I didn't understand what that was supposed to achieve.
So to be honest with you, we can't blame it on the table of these poor market women. I mean, they are basically reacting to what is on the table in the country. And, you know, we can only blame the government. That's the truth. And, you see, let's start by looking at it, properly. What do we export out of this country? Oil. Apart from oil, what other things? Nothing. That's the truth. And look, it's a function of demand and supply, one. And it's also a function of, our forex earnings and, our strength, in terms of Naira and dollar. That's all. So you said it, during your introduction that, the Naira is on a free fall. What else do we expect? A kilo of Titus fish, which was, I think, about 4,000 Naira just 2 days ago. My wife bought it. Just this morning was 4,200. So how then do we expect that it is these people, these poor market women who are basically trying to earn a living for themselves that to blame, to be blamed for?
What do you understand? What do you understand by the government saying people are hoarding food? Because I've been trying to understand that. What does that mean? Because that was one of the reasons I believe Sahad stores got affected. What does it mean to hoard? I've been trying to understand, what that means. In a time where people are trying to sell, I mean, the business wants to sell food, right? But they're going to sell at a price that they can make profit from, right?
So I basically don't even think that, the fact that people are hoarding food is responsible for, the hike in the prices of these commodities. I don't think that is actually the way to go. That can just be a spin, by some people somewhere to basically say, oh, look, the government is doing what they should do. And so these things are just skyrocketing. Maybe it's a function of people who are selling or a function of people who have these commodities in store. Now, don't forget, most of these commodities are expiry products. I mean, they carry expiry dates. So how do you then store fish and stock it up, in such a way that you would not want to sell it in 3 months or in 1 month or in 2 months? It will definitely rot away. That's the truth. How do you stock up noodles? How do you stock up? Tell me what exactly it is that you want to stock up basically and you don't want to sell. That's one. If you then store them up somewhere, are you making money? Are you making profit by storing things up in your warehouse? So I actually don't think it's the way to go, and it's a sound narrative. I basically think that people are beginning to get tired and people are beginning to react, and some people, on the other hand, are looking for narratives to reel out there. That's it, in very simple terms.
We've heard a lot from the president or the presidency, making the usual excuses. We met a bad economy, things are going to take time, and all of that narrative. I'm even going as far back as blaming the party that was in government 9 years ago. But Mr. President, on his inauguration day, did say he was going to hit the ground running. And in fact, on the eve of the inauguration, I think it was a dinner hosted by the then President Buhari, the day before the handover, May 28th, 2023, said these words: "Don't pity me. I asked for this job. I campaigned for it. No excuses. I will live up to the bill to deliver. I promise you." This was President Tinubu on May 28th, 2023. When you look at that side by side, the excuses you hear now, on the one hand, people say, well, it's too soon. It's only 9 months. It's going to take a while to fix. On the other hand, people are not seeing signs of things getting better. What argument do you think holds more water here?
Really, it's just a case of we are now beginning to hear excuses. I mean, at that ceremony you talked about, he literally said, "I campaigned from the job, don't pity me." And that's what any good leader would say. I mean, if you give your company to someone that you think is capable to become the CEO and turn around the affairs of that company, and the person comes around at the inauguration speech and says, "Oh, don't pity me, I interviewed for this job," and then some months down the line, this particular pity you told people not to pity you for is beginning to come out the way. You're coming with excuses back to back to back. Then it means that you're just indirectly telling us that maybe you're no longer capable for the job. I mean, using your words basically, because if you as a leader are finding excuses, I mean, we have gone from past administration to now past administration but wasn't me as excuses. I mean, we are almost a year. We are going towards a year for this particular administration, and we are not, what is going on now is that we are not in that place where you say, oh, what's going on now is as a function of activities that will later become fruitful. That's not what's going on here. What are just going on is everyone is wearing blinders on, and then it's just a free fall into an abyss, and it's looking like there's no holds back. So what we're looking at is there's no excuse really. So he has literally told us that if I do not do what needs to be done, then I no longer hold that ability to continue, because he said I didn't come here for excuses. But now we are hearing so far from even most of the economic team, it's just excuses.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked a lot about how, people are struggling. In times like this, you would see certain sectors, the private sector, sort of driving the economy. One part of the private sector that always seems to thrive is, the beer industry. You hear, even if people are sad, you shall drink to drink away your sorrows. If you're happy, you celebrate with. But we did see that the beer industry declared a 266.6 billion naira loss in the last financial year. We've seen so many companies leaving the country. And it's been a sign of what's happening in the private sector. And these are institutions that naturally should not be shook, by an economic downturn. It gives you a sign of what's happened with even smaller businesses, isn't it?
It does actually. I mean, the big beer industry, when I saw that, I was like, whoa, the source of happiness is beginning to realize that there's no longer happiness anymore. The purchasing power is down. People are looking for alternate means to be happy. We've seen the rise of local herbs that actually intoxicate because, of course, I mean, if I have 300 naira and one beer bottle is not enough to make me high, I mean, and I take those cheaper options, I mean,
which are unhealthy, sadly.
Well, who asked? Beer is technically is alcohol. If you consume it at a very high level, it's still unhealthy. So it's just people choosing their own form of unhealthy that they like, but at the end of the day, it's just what is going to happen at the end of the day. They want to get high. So you tell me that I have to beer is increasing price every day, just like fish. So if I have a choice, I will pick fish over beer.
Survival first.
I know, right? And then I will go for the cheaper version of alcohol, and then I'm able to put fish in my rice to be able to eat and still drink my cheaper version of alcohol. The purchasing power is down. Is literally down in the gutters. So it's not, we understand how it feels like and all that, but the fact is, the people that usually buy this, maybe they would buy a crate before. Family and friends, come over, come drink. Now we even have places and ceremonies that people are supposed to drink, and you see, and you see local kind of drinks going on. Or if they used to buy 10 crates or buy 5, and everybody understands the economy and everybody manages what's going on. So at the end of the day, purchasing power is down in the gutters. It's not just the beer industry. I'm even worried for our darling Indomie that used to be like lifesaver
like
for yes.
I mean, eggs are almost untouchable.
I know. And you're wondering, is dollar also affecting the eggs? The chicks laying eggs? Of course, it's affecting the chicks laying eggs. They have to buy feeds. Poultry business is now under attack. They can barely survive. So it's not just about beer. What I'm worried about is all those local foods. You see rice. Can you imagine the cost of rice? Minimum wage cannot buy rice.
Wale, is it maybe playing devil's advocate here? Is it fair to say that this government, whatever government took over in May 2023, was going to go through something like this, considering where the economy was at the time? Because a lot of people said it then that, whoever takes over is going to be meeting a terrible state. Yes, people have blamed some of the pronouncements and policies at the start of this administration, but was something like this inevitable, you think?
Look, yeah. I mean, completely inevitable, except we want to be deceiving ourselves. I've been telling people that, look, I wasn't expecting a magician to take over the reins of affairs of the nation. Look, the country was in shambles even before this present administration came into office. This is not to speak for them. I'm just being very honest with you, and let's do a fair assessment of things. Look, what I think we should be asking for right now would be the gains on subsidy removal. What exactly is the government doing on the gains of subsidy removal? And look, I don't want anybody to come and tell me that...
That's assuming it's removed now, because
no, it's already removed.
Not completely
it's
removed.
It depends on the day of the week you ask.
We're hearing it's not completely removed, because prices are sort of, if we're going by the way the oil prices work internationally, prices look fixed here, but go on.
Thank you. So, I mean, we were informed. At least the president informed the nation that subsidy is gone.
Yes.
And so I choose to believe that, subsidy has been removed, right? Now, I want to know what exactly the government is doing with the gains on that removal of subsidy. I don't want anybody to come and tell me that there are some intervention programs that are going on with feeding school children and all those things, because they are basically siphoning those funds. So that, for me, is not the way to go. I think the way to go is to save up those monies, pay up our debts, and then the federal government should do everything it can to encourage people to go on to do other things that can earn foreign exchange into this. That's all. Now, for example, I have a proposal, free to tell the federal government, right? Why not set up something that can encourage agriculture in real terms, not this one that we do under the table, right? And we say, look, we are pumping in some funds and then fertilizers and what have you that would really get nowhere. So I think the federal government should encourage people to come and take seedlings, go through farm settlements in each state of the federation. Let them take seedlings for maybe grains or cassava or whatever it is that we really want to export, and we want to be known for that particular commodity. So take, for instance, maize. It takes about 3 to 6 months or what have you to grow maize, right? So give seedlings, to people who are interested in farming. Tell them to do it, and then they take the end product to a particular farm settlement, and then they get paid for it. Now, the federal government, through the Ministry of Agriculture, should package how this would now be exported and when foreign currency. That's basically what we need to do. Not all these programs that we say we are doing and then we give fertilizers to our friends and people who have supported political parties, and political, figures, and then we say we are doing some interventionist programs and what have you. It would really not work.
Let me come to you now, Priscilla, because you were shaking your head.
I had something
a lot
else to
there. But let's just move away from that. Because why I interjected then was, I think it was the IMF that said during the week that subsidy had come back through the back door. And this is the same IMF that people have said the government is in bed with. So for them to have said that, it means they've seen something. But anyways, I want to come to you now. Still talking about, what the government is trying to do. We did hear the CBN governors say that they inherited about a $7 billion debt. And they have paid back about $2 billion. They found out that some of them were frivolous and all of that. Isn't that a sign that at least something is in the works? Like Wale has said, this is a country that doesn't produce anything, whether we like it or not, which is why we found ourselves where we are. Is 9 months enough to have just sort of switched up from being a solely oil exporting nation to fix this forex drama that's going on?
Okay, like my Wale rightly said, right, we need to start producing, right? If you want us to change to forex, it means that the international community has to look into your country and figure out what they like, and they come for it. We already have the grains, which is always exported. You have companies like Ulam running on that. We have some other kinds of exports. You see, for us to fix exports is a whole nother ball game. You have the port authority, you have this insecurity that's not. It's a whole nother. That's why I was shaking my because it's not just enough to give seedling to farmers and all that. There's the ports where it's going to go. There are policies that encourage exports. Then you now come on to insecurity. That is a major concern. Where are these farmers going to farm? Is it the same place they are being killed? They are not being assured security. We saw the food inflation rise up when insecurity flew up the ranch, right? So if you give these farmers seedlings and they go to their farms and they get killed by people that nobody seems to find, what's the point? So are they going to farm it in their houses? We're having situations where insecurity is not entering the farms anymore. It's coming to people's houses. So there's a whole ecosystem for you to make Nigeria that profitable country. Even our oil is suffering. The oil that we are known for is suffering from the same insecurity problem. And then we cannot even begin to talk about the cost of governance here. Currently, everybody knows that the cost of governance in Nigeria is too high for the GDP that we have right now and the level of debt we're in. 7 billion. That number flew up in the last 8 years under the same administration with the same political party. So I don't know if they're going to sit down on a round table and have a conversation with themselves. Who took what? Bring it back, because it's still them. They took it. It's still the same administration. And then if we're going to talk about seriousness in the government, now everybody knows Nigeria is at that point where we can call ourselves poor. I see no reasons why there are too many institutions being set up and empowered with different kinds of amounts for everything else apart from things that directly affect the citizenry. Everything else, we even have humanitarian affairs, is no longer humanitarian anymore. So what do we look at here? We're looking at situations where kangaroo policies are coming up, like Wale rightly said. Some things that are supposed to be are not being done. Let's go back to the drawing board. First things first, reduce the cost of governance. You would save money and then begin to look into policies that enable the international community to look into. Before you do that, fix insecurity. I mean, this is rocky. I don't need to be a magician or a scientist to know that if you want people to start farming, make the farms safe for them to go and farm. We literally see food basket of the nation, Benue State. They were one of the first set of people that faced insecurity in Nigeria. You have a whole community like Agatu wiped off the map. These people are the people that farm for Nigeria, and it's not safe. Now we have Jos every other afternoon. Plateau is being attacked. We had of recent a certain community that is known for their tomatoes. They were attacked. Their churches, human beings were burnt in their houses. So you see, these things are not rocket science. Let's go back to the basics. Create a safe environment for people to produce, and then create a very good avenue for these people that produce to push out their market out there. We have a fantastic diaspora community. Our food can be exported, if not to other communities, but to the Nigerian diaspora community. We have Nigerians buying gari from Ghana in other countries in Europe. Why about our own local gari? Why is it not getting to them? Is it the Nigerians that are here doing the gari that are the reasons why it doesn't get to them? Now, I'm very certain that if there are favorable policies for farmers and even producers to create, they would be able to create. But how do they get it out safely in a way that there's enough profit margin for them to go back and produce more? These are basic questions. It's just like basic questions of business. And it just seems like our amazing economic team and our presidency, they just seem to always leave that part out and face every other thing else. Honestly, I don't see why we are having this situation with the fuel, why the subsidy was taken off. If they had cut off the cost of governance, maybe there wouldn't have been need to have taken off subsidy, in my own opinion. I mean, considering the fact that people are suffering.
This conversation needs to go on, but unfortunately, we have to call it a day now. Thanks a lot, Wale, as always, for being here, and Priscilla.
Thank you.
It's looking very grim, I have to say.
Yeah,
a lot of people are not hopeful, and we just call on governments to hopefully, I don't know. Something needs to be done.
Yes.
Something needs to be done. This is not sustainable. 200 million people groaning. It's not sustainable. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. Please stay with us.
Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show
Welcome back. Now, we did talk in the last segment about, what the economy is doing to Nigerians and how tough it is to exist at a time like this. But there's also the other, probably most unspoken part of things, what it does to your mental health and, your happiness and your wellness as a whole. A lot of Nigerians are going through it financially, but also just psychologically and mentally, the task of just trying to keep going. We keep saying Nigerians are very resilient. I don't know whether that word is a compliment anymore, because these days resilience is probably killing a lot of people. Well, I'm joined here now by Chukwuma Eze, who sells happiness, like he says. Thanks a lot for joining us. Yeah. At a time like this now, what do you tell someone who comes to you and says, I can't seem to find joy in anything? And it's a valid statement, isn't it? Things are really tough. People who were getting by even by whatever salary they earned are now having to get by that same salary with things 2-3 times more expensive, with families to take care of and all of that. How do you have a conversation with someone to still see some sort of reason to keep going at a time like this?
Go back to the little things, right? Try to find joy in the little things, because I think as a society we are too encumbered by, we're chasing, I want the house, I want the car, I want those are valid dreams, these are valid, wants and needs. But at a time like this, where that car that you plan to buy next month, your dollar, your naira has devalued and you cannot buy it and get, I would just suggest that just go try to find joy in the little things. Try to say, you know what? The car, I can't get it right now, but I still have my kids, I still have my wife, I have a girlfriend that makes me happy, I have a family that loves me. Try to focus on not just the little things, those things we think that are little, they're actually the things that matter. Your family, your wife, your kids, your community, your society, your health. If you can focus on the things that you have that are working for you, then you can now start working your way to the things that you don't have that you can now, get and then complete your job. But just find a way to find, joy in the little things and find joy within you. And then you can now say, okay, the problems outside can be solved, but the problems inside, I've been able to hold them, to take care of them and to conquer them. And then I think that's a good approach. That's what I use anyways. I guess
the question now will be, how do you find that balance? Because yes, you can find joy in the little things, whether when you get home or when you're with friends or whatever it is, but you always have to step out, right? And we all know now, the moment you leave your gates in Nigeria, everything is coming at you, whether it's you're trying to buy, whether it's just being on the road in traffic, there's always something. So how do you find that balance, when you are being assaulted with all of the chaos and just economic issues and waiting to get back to your safe space? What happens?
Again, I'll say this life, you can't kill yourself, right? So you have to, again, take it one day at a time. However, because of the, like you said, assault on people's mental health in Nigeria, people should start taking cognizance of the fact that we are a traumatized people, we're a traumatized nation, we are dealing with a lot of trauma, some of us from our childhood, trauma. Society is traumatizing us, everything is traumatizing us. Every day you are, encumbered by a barrage of bad news. So I would say, again, protect what you consume, protect your mental health, but then seek help. Go to events, go to places, go to church if you are religious. Try to find good places where you get to feel like sunlight. If you need help, go to people that can give you help professionally. Find a community, be part of it, and just, it will help to lessen the blow of, the impact, of all these, things that are coming against you.
I mean, I don't have any data. I don't know if you do as well, but I know we hear a lot about how Generation Z seems to be the most affected in times like this. You know, they're at an age where they're still trying to figure life out. Some of them are not even gotten jobs yet, just out of school, and all of this is going on. I mean, I don't know, you probably interact with them a lot more because of the work you do. What are some of the things you hear from, you know, that generation? Because this is a generation that is visibly changing the world globally. We can see a lot of what's happening with Gen Zs, whether it's with politics, with technology, and in a country where, you know, the youth population is close to 60-70% from what I hear. It means that mass exists and is, whether we like it or not, the future of this nation. But at a time when they're trying to find themselves and the economy is going through this, what kind of interactions do you have with people in that generation, and what do they need to start looking at? Because someone who's probably 19, you know, doesn't have a wife to go back to you know, comfort. They might be single, not even a girlfriend. You know, in that age, what is the sort of things they should start, you know, looking at and believing in?
Okay. Well, first of all, the generation Gen Z, it might be a little bit shocking that I am. I was born on the cusp of Gen Z, so I can say I'm actually Gen Z because I was born the year it started, even though I look older than my age. And part of the reasons why we look is, again, pressure. Gen Z, we are under, it's like we are in a pressure cooker. Our generation is under pressure, and there are many factors. Number one, chief of them is social media, because with social media you get to see people who are living, you know, there's a lot of comparison, and you know that the younger generation, they have self-esteem issues, so there's a lot of comparison. Ada is flying to Maldives, her sugar daddy is taking her, you know, this guy is living in Lekki, he's doing well, you know, so it makes you feel, you know, it affects your mental health, makes you have low self-esteem. And another thing is loneliness, because again, social media, people don't go out to play anymore, people don't really have, some people are socially awkward, they can't even have interactions with people, they rather text. They will meet that fine girl they've been talking to on phone. They can't even talk anymore because social media is redefining the way we communicate. So people are lonely. People, even in places like Lagos, people are lonely and they don't interact. And some of all these things are helping to, you know, put more pressure, especially on the Gen Z. Then the economic factors. Let's be honest. You know, Nigeria's unemployment rate, it's over 35%. It's growing, and the youth, most of them, Gen Z, half of Nigerians. The median age in Nigeria is 19 years, Gen Z, and they don't have jobs, you know, and all of this. And when you are young, you are having, you know, the fear of missing out, you are having low self-esteem, you don't have money, and then you are jobless, you are hopeless. You know, these things actually dampen the optimism of this generation. And what I can say to them is, don't let hope die, and then just reorientate yourself, right? Because there's a lot of pressure. Parents these days, you know, man pressure. Don't you see that person? Don't you see that person is riding a car, is doing this? So there's a lot of pressure on them. Please don't pressure yourself. If others pressure you, don't pressure. Like me, I'm taking life a day at a time. So he's married. He's riding a Jeep. You know, take it easy. Reorientate your mind. Take it. Just know that it's a process. Yes, Nigeria is frustrating us, but don't put too much pressure on yourself. Take it easy. You know, as the day comes, just put in the work. Make sure that you put in the work. You are honest, and then slowly just reorientate. Because if you set too high goals, if you set goals that are too high to attain, it will depress you on the long run. But if you set small steps, let me graduate first, let me get a job, let me do this 100K job, let me do this 200K job, before you know it, you know, and then you know you can live a happier, more fulfilled life because you are taking things step by step. It's not easy, but we just have to take it, you know, step by step to be able to, so that we don't kolo in this country. You know,
a lot of the older generation have called, you know, Gen Z's weak, because they will say, for as long as life has been, things have been tough, especially in Nigeria. You know, there's never really been a time where Nigerians were feeling the most prosperous. You know, there's always been complaints, whether it's or not the military, which were really, really crazy times. You know, and do you think that's a valid way to look at things, to say the generation that's sort of blooming now, Gen Zs, are not as resilient as, you know, the other generations are, and all of this talk about mental health is just a cop-out, you know, to sort of make excuses as against, you know, facing things head on?
The honest truth is, Gen Z is not as resilient as our fathers. You know, our fathers, we are like the link between the old generation, you know, before, you know, quote unquote civilization and urbanization, right? So they had that tenacity and that, you know, that grit.
And nothing will be handed to you.
Yeah, nothing will be handed to them. But then when they started raising children, millennials were softer than their parents. Now millennials started raising children, Indomie generation, you know. So these children grow up entitled, right? Because most of Gen Zs, they grow up where, no, don't beat them, I'm not saying you should beat your kid, but don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. So they grow up really entitled. But at the same time, with social media and every other thing, it's now adding more fuel to fire, right? Because with the soft upbringing that they have, where they feel like everything should be handed to them on a platter, coupled with the fact that they are now undergoing the pressure of social media and the modern day generation, where everybody expects them to be perfect and have everything already, it's now making them seem very weak. I think they can find their way back, but the upbringing and then the current circumstance they found themselves, it's also contributing to making them seem weak.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they are not so weak, but because they are the ones that, when they want to set everywhere ablaze, they will set everywhere ablaze. So they are not so weak as we think they are. Yeah.
I've heard this term Afro-optimism.
Yeah.
What is that, and what does it look like in a space like this, especially something uniquely African maybe? And how is it supposed to help us, out of this, if at all?
Okay, so in my business of selling happiness, I run Happy Vibe services, and I've made calls to over 35,000 Nigerians. Just phone calls that makes people happy. I'll call your mom for you, your dad, anybody, and I'll make them happy on your behalf. You are fighting, I will settle it. So after doing it a few thousand, many thousand times, I realized that, people need things to make them happy. A simple call can make someone's day. You can change the trajectory of someone's marriage. And so I decided, I'm going to create an event that people can come to, and they can escape from the barrage of problems. They can find escape. I did an event 2 years ago about a link up, and people came, and people were playing, see adults doing bouncing castle. We took them back into their childhood, and for a day they escaped the pressure of working and doing all this hard work every day, traveling and all of that. Then this year we're now doing Afro-optimism, which is, Nigeria is the most optimistic country in the world. We're not the happiest people.
You go better.
I go blue. You go better. My mother lost my father when I was just a year old, but that optimism that I'm going to train these 4 children, and one day they're going to train me back. That hope is something she never lost. And today I'm taking care of her. So it was a good bank. She banked on that hope. So that optimism, we want to take it and package it and sell it to the world, not just to Nigerians, but from that optimism we have. Because there are some countries, surprisingly, where things are, quote unquote, working, like Japan and other places, but they're not so happy. The suicide rate is also off the roof. So humanity needs optimism. And Nigerians have it in bulk, because no matter what the government does to us, we are still optimistic. So we are packaging Afro optimism as an event where people come, receive mental health therapy from experts, from psychologists, from therapists, and then they can get healing and all of that. They can heal their inner wounds, their traumas, and that's an event we are having. They will also play, do bouncing castle, shoot water gun, eat rice and everything, and then it will continue month after month and all of that. Yeah.
So it's a monthly thing?
It's going to be a consistent thing, monthly, bi-monthly thing, where people can come and have a community, because that's another thing that affects people's mental health. Our parents had strong communities. I saw your picture, CWO, but you have a Catholic,
this
CMO. Those Catholic men, they come together every month or every week and they do this. They had strong ties. Gen Z, they only have phone. They don't have the same. But if we can create communities where young people can gather, play, have fun, meet each other, it's going to help with their mental health, just like it helped our parents. Yeah.
Is it possible to, do you think, stay happy without money? Because we always say money cannot buy happiness. A lot of people are saying, well, give me first, let me find out.
Yeah.
Is it possible to stay happy in a time like this without financial freedom or like money in your hands?
To be honest with you, money enhances, it helps make you happier, but it's not the base. I was raised in a family where I watched my mother do honest work, honest living, honest work. It wasn't so much, but she was an honest woman. And that helped me to know that, hey, if you really want to make it in life, just do honest work. I might do a job and get 10,000 naira, and somebody might do Yahoo and get 10 million. And I'll be happier than the person, because at night I sleep with my peace of mind. So peace of mind is everything. I rather have 10,000 naira and have my peace of mind than I have 10 million and I'm running from kidnappers, or I'm wanting to jump off the roof. So it is possible to be happy without a lot of money. You shall need some money to oil to cook food, because if you no chop, you won't be happy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ukuma. Good luck with everything. Looking forward to this Afro Optimism taking root. What's your handle so people can just find
Afro
you?
Under Optimism.
Afro Under Optimism. Check him out and, be a part of trying to be happy because we all need it.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me. Now it's time to show and prove.
It's the house of RJ
Tegwolo, oya, come go pharmacy, go buy me drug. Buy me tetracycline and septrin. Wetin I talk?
Tetracycline and septrin.
I said make you buy tetracycline and septrin.
Okay, mommy, I don't sabi am. Tetracycline and septrin.
Say it again.
Tetracycline and septrin.
Again.
Tetracycline and septrin.
Oya, hurry, come back quick.
Tetracycline, septrin. Tetracycline, septrin. Tetracycline, septrin. Tetracycline, septrin.
Come on, play rubber. You don't go play rubber.
Tetracycline. Mama sent me message. Tetracycline. Septrin.
What about ball? You enter set.
I am gonna do post. How many will they choose? Tetracycline. Come over there. You want to do me? You want wound me? Passport. Go. I tell you, I go wound you for this way. It is that we play ball. Me, take one champion of worry. It craze. Mega like creams. Latrine. Sembasa cream. Latrine. Hey. Sekesa cream. Septrin. Hey. I bet they come. My mama sent me message. They come make a hey. Good afternoon, Uncle Chemist.
How are you?
Uncle Chemist, I'm fine. I want to buy that medicine that my mommy used to like.
What do you mean by medicine? Which medicine is that?
Uncle, the name is long.
What is the name of the drug you want to buy?
Cream.
Huh? What?
Uncle, that is it.
I didn't hear you.
Latrine.
You must be very silly. What are you saying?
Uncle, that is it now. I've told you now. It's exactly that my mama said I should buy.
Now say it slowly.
Okay, Uncle. Sekeprim and latrine.
There's no drug like that. Will you go back home and ask your mom what she asked you to buy?
Uncle, no. It's die with him. She will kill me. My mama will kill me.
Live here. Go home. Ask your mom when you are ready. Come back.
Tegwolo, you don't come back.
Mommy, I don't come. True to God, they don't get the medicine where you say they can buy. I check for all the pharmacy. They say they no get.
Tegwolo, which pharmacy where you go?
Mommy, I try you. I go the one for Junction, they no get. I go near that one where they for feed, where they play ball. I not follow them play ball. I not touch ball. I don't go that pharmacy, they say they no get. I can't go the one for the next Junction. They say they no get that your medicine where you they ask of.
Wetin be the medicine where I say make you buy?
Mommy, now that one, now that two medicine where you talk, now I tell them, they say they no get.
Wetin be the name of the medicine? Na wetin I dey ask you.
Mommy, the medicine name, they no get them. True to God, I ask them now, they say they no get them.
Tegwolo, wetin be the name of the drug where I say make you buy?
Chekelaprim and latrine.
You say?
Chekelaprim, Sekelaprim and latrine.
You see why you no go ever get sense?
Say, hey, we represent.
Yes, that was good. As Nigeria had like this, anything that can make us smile, we're always here for it. I'm joined here now by a Jabal comedian. Thanks a lot for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
That's really beautiful, man. I mean, I think for a lot of us, I've always wanted to ask you this: how did you segue into this? Because most people knew you from stand-up,
Yeah.
and then we saw the YouTube channel start off, and then it's become this monster.
Yeah.
You know, how did animation first come into this?
So it's always been there. When I was as far back as 2010, 2009, 2010, I decided that I would do comedy with animation. And I think that was the time skits were just, that time the only people that are doing skits there, when Basket, EY, Bobby, when they want to do their shows, they're just
put something
skits,
out.
and that was the time I was, I was just coming up in the stand-up comedian, so I was like, I'll do my skits, but I'll do it in animation, so that's how I started, and we did the first set of skits. I didn't even know when it went viral. We just put it out on Facebook. I don't even remember the ones of Aboki, you get egg.
Yes.
4-7 egg, press on. Chinedu is your friend from London. We just did the first set and we just put it out on Facebook. And after like a year or two, people were sending me my skits. I'm like, man, watch this. This thing is very funny. I said, it's me. I said, I said, House of
So
Ajebo.
you knew you had to own it.
Ajebo. It's funny how they could, they could place Ajebo, but they could put it together, House of Ajebo, and that's how we started out.
Yeah. So when did your YouTube page start?
So it was after
that
the Aboki skit went viral, and I wasn't getting credit for it. I think 2013, I was like, you know what? Let me put it on YouTube. It's one of my least viewed video on my YouTube page.
And you have how many subscribers now on your YouTube page?
I can say it's about 2 million, 1.9.
2 million. Yeah. Now, if you've done anything on YouTube, you know how hard it is to get 10,000 subscribers. You're at 2 million subscribers, and the same way you say you get it for, I get your. Sometimes I don't even need to go and find this. And people are like, oh, click this link. I'm just like, when did you realize you were onto something, with your YouTube page?
Okay, so I think it was in 2016 when it went really viral. I was working on the radio at the time.
Yeah.
I had worked on the radio for about 5 years, and somehow I wasn't having time to do what I wanted to do with the animation, and the dream was getting bigger. I was no longer functioning on the radio. Like, I would be on air and I would be on the radio and the ideas would just be flying in. And then I couldn't go for meetings. I couldn't set up, I couldn't do anything. And I just walked into the office one day, Chris Bossy, big shout out to him. And I'm like, boss, it's time to leave. Like, I'm no longer here. I want to go and do this proper. And that's how. And it was the year that Tigwala started.
Yes.
Funny enough, but we got our big break during the lockdown.
Yeah, the lockdown was definitely a big one.
Yes.
Definitely a big one for you. Like you said, animation was always there, but a lot of people think of animation and think, this thing is expensive.
Yes.
Putting it together and all of that. So definitely you're spending quite some money. Why is that the viable way to go? Why not just do what everybody else does? Get characters, play something out, and it's straight up. Because animation takes a while to put together. Your writing, your voicing, and all of that. Why is that still the format you wanted?
So I've always been a blue.
And is it really expensive, or is it just a bit?
It's actually really expensive. Yeah, I've always been a blue ocean strategy guy. I wanted to play in my lane. And at the time where the animation thing started, it seemed like a joke because nobody was paying attention to it. But it's something that I decided I was going to do and do it well. So it was not just about creating skits. The skits was just like, this is a platform available to us, let's do it. The bigger picture is to be able to create movies, in a nutshell, be the Disney for Africa. And that's where we're going to this 2024. In fact, we just launched a kiddies learning channel. It's called Jenny and Kenny. It's the learning and entertainment channel for kids with Afrofusion.
Nice.
Right, so you have Days of the Week song that is Amapiano, you have Baby Shark with Gong Gong, but then it's still the actual learning materials that you want your kids to listen to. It's not like, we're not turning it into a Fuji song, no. It's like having, it's like you can play a Wizkid song and segue into our song. So we realized that as a father of 3 girls, I have 3 girls, I realized that learning materials these days are, Disney bought over the most popular one, which is Cocomelon. And now you have drag queens in it and different stuff and 2 daddies and all. And as a father, I know no disrespect to them, but there's certain values I want my own kids to. I'm like, you know what? I know there are a lot of other parents like me, so let's do it. So we took the learning part first, and now we're creating that from House of Ajabo, you're going to see our local superheroes.
Nice.
Right? So that's where we're going right now. We want to create our own movies and do a whole lot of stuff. VFX movies. These things are not hard. Maybe because of the experience we
have already.
When I see, I'm like, this is green screen. Like, we can do these things, but it's just so that's where we're going right now. And then the bigger picture is to have our own Disneyland. Of course, maybe our own theme park, And so we're even experimenting this Easter. We're doing something called the House of Ajabo Easter Fun Fair. We'll do it in Christmas again, where we get a big space and then we just fill it up with kiddie stuff. We're bringing in all the characters, Tigolo, Mama Tigolo, all our characters. Like, just come and interact with the characters, So that's the picture. And we're like, you know what? Let's start to experiment little gradually, and then till we get our own place and we can do all the things that we want to do. We want our kids to be proud of their own African animation, right? I grew up watching all the Voltrons and Superman, and we want our kids to be able to tell our own story. Wakanda is not our story, sorry. It was a lovely, beautiful movie, but imagine that it was the actual African story with the actual characters, and so that's where we're going.
Nice. In a nutshell, he's making money, is what he's telling me. Because everything he has listed here is expensive to do. Do you still do stand-up?
Of course, I can't leave stand-up. Stand-up is my first love.
Yeah.
It's my first love. My show is June 9th. Don't play.
But this makes you a lot of money. Because we know everybody's aware of YouTube money now and what it does, and you have a lot of content there.
Right.
Would you say does it make you more money than stand-up? Is this your mainstay now? Stand-up is like the side hustle?
I hate to put it like that. But it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I've always been, when I resigned my job, I became an entrepreneur. Fully. Like, I learned the ropes. Like this I realized that I said, you have senior colleague and junior colleague. I started from the basics, and I was 2016, and I've been learning. So the truth is, where I want to go, stand-up comedy can't get me there. And I've not scratched even the surface of this market, and I'm doing it real time. In fact, we had to literally get investors on board for Jenny and Kenny because it's so huge, it's massive. I couldn't do it alone. This is literally converting the entire curriculum into songs, and the animations are beautiful. I mean, we have two teams. We have a team in Nigeria. We have House of Ajabo Animation Studio. We have another team in India. And we're paying in dollars. So yes, what I said to do was, run this as a full business, and yes, it pays more than stand-up comedy.
I mean, you have a big fight in your hands, right? Because there's a reason why the animation giants are the animation giants. You talk about Disney a lot, and they know what they're doing, which is why they're where they are, right? And they just launched, I think, a movie that's coming on Disney Plus called Iwaju, which a lot of people saw the trailer for, and were like, okay, this looks interesting.
Beautiful.
So when you see something like that, and it helps you understand maybe the competition you have in your hands and the fights, is it something you're prepared for? Because these organizations, once they sniff out competition, you know what happens.
Yeah.
How does that scare you?
So no, it doesn't. So I'm not competing with Disney. I'm not prepared for that fight. I'm not competing. I'm not yet. Yeah. So I just know that the African story is one that is to be told, and it's painful that they know it. They know it, right? In fact, it is painful that they're taking advantage of it more. Look at Wakanda. Look at Woman King. Everything that tells the African story is a big deal, right? It goes, it sells out in cinemas, but Nigerians are still trying, a lot of Nigerians are still trying to sound American and trying to do action and no. Big shout out to, there's a change right now. You can all tell, like what you're seeing on Netflix now. You see that our African producers are beginning to understand that people actually want to hear the African story. right? With all the movies that are selling out these days, you see there's no one that doesn't have African. Yeah, it has the authentic African content, culture, language, and all that. You know, so we need to know that Africa, it's our time. Even our music industry, Afrobeat, is our time globally. So I'm not competing with them.
There's room for everybody.
Exactly, it's our time, and the kids also need to latch on it, and that's why we created the Afro music learning package for them, Jenny and Kenny on YouTube.
On the final note, how much of Tegwolo's character is you? Because people always say it's a little too real. You like that your story you tell us. Did they tell you to buy tetracycline and you bought latrine?
Actually,
how many times did you do that?
So actually, Tegwolo is me. I is him. We is.
You were that mischievous.
Yeah, I was prayer point for my mom. Like literally, I was stubborn. Like I was that child that would go to school. You must receive results every day. I make her beat 5 people today. Jackie Chan. And the beating is not I must put here, you know, because it just used to stick. Just the way I watch it, I'm like, gently do flying kick today. We go practice our you know. So when I wanted to create the character, at the time, in the comedy industry, was the worry story that was telling, you know, and
so it was easy to just
let's make him a worry child. And then the bicycle seat head. That head, we don't see.
I know that head is very familiar from primary school. Yes, I don't see it again.
Yes, like midwives, then I've got to know how to mold the head. Those days, you must have one guy with bicycle seat head. You know, I had one in my class. I used to call him bicycle seat head. I'm like, let's give him bicycle seat head. We just exaggerated your goal, and Tegwolo was born.
Well done, man. Good luck with everything.
And I play about 7 voices on it.
On the show,
right?
Wow. Well done, man. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Show coming up in June. We have fun parks coming up in Easter and Christmas.
Yeah.
We have, of course, your YouTube that's flourishing. Yeah. Good luck, man. Now you do enjoy.
Not really.
I'm most probably be inspired by him because we're all looking for other ways to make money in times like this. So at least have a good career. Yeah. And you're showing that anything is possible. You don't have to be stuck in one lane. Yeah. Thanks a lot for everything. And check out his YouTube page as well. But like I always say, you can follow the conversation on social media. Please use the hashtag Rubbin Minds when you send us a message. I will see you next Sunday.
Hey, I wanna get with you. Don't just stand there teasing me.